In SOS Titanic, Barry must rescue his friend Pigeon, avoiding his arch nemesis Johnny and Fred Flynn. So SOS Titanic is a book that I had to read for English class. We had to read a historical fiction novel that the teacher gave us. I did The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, so I'll be reviewing that later. And we had to choose our own to read. And I went to the school library, and I saw the cover for this, SOS Titanic, and I thought it looked interesting, so, I read it, and I have to say, it was good. It was good. I mean, the characters seemed likable, and some characters seemed unlikable, but the characters that are unlikable, Johnny or Yanni and Frank weren't exactly supposed to be. I mean, the main kind of villain character that kind of bullies the main character Barry, named Johnny or Yanni. I mean, you're supposed to hate him. He's just a real jerk. And Pigeon is his sister, and Johnny or Yanni and Frank actually threatened to throw Barry overboard. But luckily, they're in third class. Barry's in first class. But Johnny or Yanni says that, let's just call him Johnny. I don't know if it's pronounced Yanni or who knows what. Let's just call him Johnny, because let's just call him Johnny. I mean, it's not spelled Johnnny. It's pronounced Jonnie. So I do not know how to pronounce that, if it's Johnny or Yanni. Let's just call him Johnny. So, like Johnny says that if he ever sees him, he's gonna throw him off. Although he lights to the sister Pigeon, and when the ship starts to go down, he wants to try to save her, but he has to try to avoid Johnny and Frank. Frank, he's mean too. Oh, something happens with Barry and Frank. I guess you'd say their relationship. I guess you'd say. It is a bit of a turn, but I'm not going to say how it takes a turn. But that was pretty interesting. And there's also Mary, and I very much enjoyed SOS Titanic. The ending was pretty cheesy, and it got too much kind of romantic for me. However, the majority of the book is not romantic. It's mostly kind of just Barry wandering around the ship trying to avoid Johnny and Frank, talking with Pigeon, and there's the steward Wally, who's like a genie or something. Well, he says he's a genie, and he sees disaster for the ship. And obviously, that the Titanic sinks, and a lot of people die. It's a massive tragedy, and Barry's on that ship, and he has to try to get Pigeon out, but he has to try to avoid Johnny and Frank. Well, the thing is that you're probably wondering, why not save Johnny and Frank? I mean, leaving them to die or drown is kind of cruel. Ooh, let me just say, you'll see what happens with that. But I was I very much liked what happened. One flaw with it is that the majority of the book was just Barry wandering around, and the ending, like the last third of the book, where the ship sinks, feels too kind of rushed. Like, it feels like it happens too fast, if you know what I mean. But it was still exciting, and it was a nice conclusion to the book, and I did like it. Now, the characters, Barry was a bit of a likable character. One problem with the book is that the characters seem kind of undeveloped. Basically, you don't get that much of Barry's backstory, except that he lives with his, that he used to live with his grandparents, but he's moving away from Ireland to America to live with his parents, so I guess he has an Irish accent. I can't really do a good Irish accent, so yeah, don't. I'm gonna try too, and and so they don't really get to know that much about Barry. I mean, he seems like kind of like a wanderers kind of person. He seems kind of brave. He doesn't really care what Johnny and Frank care about him. And Pigeon's just a kind of curious kind of girl. She hates being kind of looked down upon from the first class, and she hopes things will change in America. And Johnny and Frank, they're pretty much just jealous of Barry, and they think, oh, they're rich and I'm all poor. Oh, they throw away their money. They can't look down upon me. They think they're so good. So that's pretty much why Johnny and Frank hate Barry, because they're rich and they think they're so better. So they kind of terrorize Barry and his grandparents and stuff. So yeah, you're kind of supposed to hate them, but I kind of understand why they don't like him. But I still think they're kind of mean. This is unnecessary. So yeah. And Watley was interesting, and Scollins was okay. He was really undeveloped, and he was just kind of there in the background. He was just there so Barry would have someone to go to America with. But his story was pretty interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much SOS Titanic. I think it's a very good book. I mean, the problem is most of it is Barry just wandering around, not doing much, and the scene was a little rushed. However, I wasn't satisfied with the conclusion. I mean, the ending with the last chapter stuff was a little too kind of romantic and cheesy, especially the last line. The last line of the book is extremely cheesy and just like, really? But if you look past that, if you look past it starting a little slow, I think you might enjoy SOS Titanic. However, I looked online to see what people think about it, and the majority of people do not like SOS Titanic. I understand that because it does start pretty slow, and the ending is pretty rushed. However, I still thought it was very interesting. The book is not a masterpiece. It's on my top 10 best books of all time list, but I still thought it was pretty enjoyable. So let me know what you want about SOS Titanic. Let me know what you thought about the characters. The same thing if you thought the ending was too rushed. Let me know anything you want about SOS Titanic. And that's pretty much it.